The Great Escape is a 1963 war film based on the book of the same name by Paul Brickhill, which in turn is based on real-life events. The movie follows a group of Allied prisoners of war during World War II who plan an elaborate escape from a German POW camp. Plot. The year is 1943. During World War II, the Germans have built a special Stalag, or prison camp, designed to house prisoners of war who repeatedly attempt to escape. Upon arriving at the new camp, many of the mostly British prisoners immediately begin to assess its security and plan their escape. An American prisoner, Captain Virgil Hiltz, played by Steve McQueen, decides to test the German guards next to the fence. Also, the other prisoners try different escape tactics. The Germans notice any attempt to escape. Hiltz and Scotsman Archibald Ives, played by Angus Lenny, are thrown into the cooler, an isolation cell on the other side of the camp. Hiltz and Ives become friends in the cooler. The prisoners of war group together and the decisive one begins to make more unified plans to escape from the camp. The group's officer, Captain Ramsey, played by James Donald, meets the German commander, who signals the impossibility of escape. Ramsey reminds the commander that it is the duty of all prisoners to try to escape. SS troops bring squadron leader Roger Bartlett, played by Richard Attenborough, to the camp. Roger is a Royal Air Force officer and therefore under the responsibility of the Luftwaffe, not the SS. An SS officer tells Bartlett that he will be shot if he is caught still escaping. Bartlett is the leader of several previous escape attempts. The other British officers call him Big X. Bartlett discovers that by putting all the problem prisoners in one camp, the Germans have unknowingly created a great escape group. Bartlett makes them all work. Undeniably, different experts start to take evasive measures. Lieutenant Tunnel King, Danny Valinsky, played by Charles Bronson, begins digging, while Lieutenant Bob Scrounger Hendley, played by James Garner, begins gathering the materials needed to make everything work for the daring escape of up to 250 prisoners. Other men are assigned to make uniforms, forge papers, and familiarize themselves with the German guards and their ways. Bartlett's plan is to dig 3 tunnels over 300 feet long. 3 because if the Germans find one, there are 2 more available. After a couple of weeks, Hiltz and Ives are released from solitary confinement and meet the others. Hiltz has his own plan to escape by digging. He and Hiltz decide to try to escape that night. Hiltz and Ives try to escape by digging, but they are caught and the next morning they are back in the cooler. Meanwhile, the other prisoners are working on the main escape attempt. Lieutenant Colin Blythe, played by Donald Pleasance, is the forger of the group and works on fake IDs. Ossie Sedgwick, played by James Coburn, is skilled at making tools from scrap metal found around the camp. Lieutenant Eric Ashley Pitt, played by David McCallum, comes up with a way to get rid of all the soil that is created when digging tunnels. Other men help in other ways. Some set up gardens where the soil from the tunnels can be spread. From the gardens, the men also get gardening tools that can be used again to escape. Some steal wood and other materials from unused beds to build tunnels. Hendley specializes in running the black market. He befriends the German security guard, Werner. Through Werner, Hendley manages to get a lot of useful material for counterfeiting, for example a camera for Blythe. The tunnels are getting longer every day, so Bartlett decides to focus all the group's efforts on digging one tunnel for the time being. Hill and the other Americans in the camp begin distilling alcohol from potatoes grown in the garden. On the 4th of July, they surprise all the inmates with gallons of moonshine. The guards are surprised to find the first tunnel during a routine inspection that day, and the men's party quickly ends. Ives, who was slowly losing hope but had been hopeful about the tunnel, breaks down. He runs to the fence and is shot by the guards. Bartlett tells the men to continue quietly through the other tunnel. Hiltz decides to help Bartlett by escaping, getting caught, and making the maps. He successfully escapes the next day. Although he was sent to the cooler again, he managed to get the information to Bartlett. The work on the second tunnel continues furiously. The men practice their new identities and the German language. Blythe notices that her vision has significantly deteriorated. She is going blind. Danny admits to his friend Willie, played by John Layton, that he is claustrophobic and can't stand digging tunnels anymore. He plans to try to escape through the fence. Willie calms Danny down and promises to stay with Danny the whole way through the escape. Hendley promises to help Blythe during the escape. When Hiltz is released from the cooler again, the main group is almost done with their work. It's escape night. Everyone is ready in the tunnel until Danny has a claustrophobic seizure in the tunnel and returns to the cabin. He later returns to the tunnel and manages to escape. At the end of the tunnel, Hiltz digs the last couple of feet to the surface. Carefully poking his head out of the tunnel, he realizes the group has miscalculated. The tunnel is too short. Now the end of the tunnel is 20 meters away from the forest where the end of the tunnel was supposed to reach. Now they must try to sneak across the open country without being seen. The escape could no longer be postponed, as the forged papers were all recorded for the next day. Hiltz places a rope between a tree in the forest and the end of the tunnel, with which Hiltz can give a rope signal to those coming from the tunnel. The men begin to flee into the forest as the guards' passes are carefully timed. There is an air raid and the Germans turn off all the lights. During this time, many men get away without a call signal during the dark. When the lights come back on, they return to the rope signal. Bartlett and his friend McDonald, played by Gordon Jackson, must exit at the end of the tunnel if they are to catch their train. A man exiting the tunnel stumbles and is heard by one of the guards. The guard cannot see the man lying on the ground in the darkness. Due to the situation, the next man in the tunnel does not receive the rope signal, which Hiltz cannot give from the forest until the guard leaves the area. The man gets impatient and runs out of the tunnel without a signal. The guard sees him and at the same time the tunnel and the men trying to escape are revealed. In the morning, the Germans count the heads and conclude that 76 prisoners escaped. The next day, the guards and the police search the countryside looking for the prisoners. When the morning train arrives at the station, many escaped men are waiting in disguise and quietly get on board. Others escape in other ways. Australian Sedgwick steals a bicycle. Hiltz manages to set a trap for a German soldier and steals his uniform and motorcycle. He is heading towards Switzerland on a motorcycle. Danny and Willie find a rowboat and start rowing downriver. Others follow you by walking or hitchhiking. As the day progresses, the Germans manage to bring back many of their prisoners one by one. The men who got on the train notice that the Gestapo and the SS are on board. Bartlett and MacDonald pretend to be French and fool the police. Hendley and Blythe jump off the train. Meanwhile, Sedgwick walks onto another train. Hiltz gets caught in a German roadblock, from which he brazenly escapes on his stolen motorcycle. A chase ensues. Hiltz shakes off his pursuers at a farm, where he discards his uniform. Finally, he reaches the border of Switzerland, but there is a border. The Germans are chasing him again. He tries to bravely jump over the fence, but fails and gets tangled in the barbed wire, and is caught by the Germans. The first train arrives at its destination. Bartlett, MacDonald and Ashley Pitt exit the train to prepare to board the next train. The SS officer who initially threatened Bartlett with death happens to be there, and he recognizes Bartlett. Ashley Pitt realizes what is happening, grabs the policeman and shoots him with his own gun. He is quickly shot by the nearby policeman. This helps Bartlett escape the scene. Hendley and Blythe, traveling overland, arrive at an air base, ambush a guard and steal a small plane. They fly towards Switzerland until the plane develops mechanical problems. Before they can get there, the plane crashes. Hendley and Blythe are not seriously injured, but German soldiers arrive and shoot Blythe. Hendley is recaptured. Sedgwick makes it to France, where 3 German soldiers are killed in a shooting by French resistance guerrillas in an outdoor cafe. The cafe owner agrees to help Sedgwick escape to Spain. Meanwhile, Bartlett and MacDonald, still posing as French, try to board the bus for the next leg of their journey. MacDonald is caught when a Gestapo officer speaks to him in English, and MacDonald answers in English. Bartlett almost manages to escape by speaking perfect German to the soldiers. Unfortunately, a nearby SS officer recognizes him as having spoken French before, and he is recaptured. In the end, the Gestapo has rounded up most of the escapees. The Germans drive the prisoners back to the camp in trucks. Trucks stopping to rest in an open field. 50 prisoners walk until suddenly a machine gun opens fire. The Germans kill the prisoners. The rest of the captured prisoners are returned to the camp, and the names of those killed are read at a memorial service. The 3 men manage to escape. Danny and Willie eventually reach port in their rowboat and board a ship bound for Sweden, and French guerrillas help Sedgwick to the Spanish border, where another man meets him to guide him to Spain. The commander of the prison camp is taken away in shame, because during his time the prison escape has taken place, another officer takes his place. At the same time Hiltz is returned to the camp, he defiantly marches back to the cooler. About the film. The Great Escape was produced by the Mirisch Company, with John Sturges serving as the director. The film based on Paul Brickhill's 1950 non-fiction book of the same name. The film depicts a heavily fictionalized version of the mass escape of POWs from the German POW camp Stalag Luft III in World War II. The film went through a development process to adapt the book into a screenplay that captured the suspenseful and daring nature of the escape story. Casting for the movie involved selecting actors who could embody the various characters and bring them to life on screen. The ensemble cast was carefully chosen to represent different nationalities and personalities within the POW camp. The film features an ensemble cast including Steve McQueen, James Garner, Richard Attenborough, James Donald, Charles Bronson, and Donald Pleasance, among others. Each actor portrays a different character involved in the escape attempt. Filming took place in various locations, including Germany and Bavaria. The production team recreated the Stalag Luft III POW camp, where the escape took place, and utilized practical sets and authentic props to enhance the realism of the story. The filming process included capturing the intricate escape sequences, which involved tunnels, disguises, and other ingenious methods. The music in The Great Escape was composed by Elmer Bernstein. The film's score is notable for its memorable and rousing main theme, which has become iconic in cinematic history. In terms of investment and box office performance, the film had a budget of around $4 million. It went on to gross over $11 million at the box office, making it a commercial success. The Great Escape was released on July 4, 1963, and received positive critical reception for its thrilling storyline, memorable performances, and impressive production values. The critical reception of The Great Escape was overwhelmingly positive. Critics praised the film for its thrilling narrative, impressive ensemble cast, and expertly executed action sequences. It was commended for its attention to detail and its ability to capture the spirit of the real-life events it was based on. The legacy of The Great Escape is enduring. It is considered one of the greatest war films ever made and continues to be celebrated for its craftsmanship and entertainment value. It has become a cultural touchstone and has influenced subsequent films in the genre. The Great Escape had a significant impact on popular culture. It brought the real-life story of the daring World War II escape to a wide audience, inspiring many subsequent films and TV shows about POW escapes. 10 interesting facts about The Great Escape movie. 1. The film is based on a true story that took place during World War II. It depicts the efforts of Allied prisoners of war to escape from a German POW camp. 2. Steve McQueen accepted the role of Hiltz on the condition that he got to show off his motorcycle skills. The motorcycle scenes were not based on real life. 3. Composer Elmer Bernstein's score for The Great Escape is highly regarded and has become synonymous with epic and adventurous film music. 4. The movie showcases a range of ingenious escape methods employed by the prisoners, such as digging tunnels, forging documents, and using stolen civilian clothing. 5. 3 tunnels being dug in real life, Tom, Dick, and Harry, and only 2 of the secret entrances are ever shown, the one under the barrack stove, and the one in the showers. 6. The actual camp, Stalag Luft 3, was located in Zagan, Poland, and the remains of the camp can be found at the map. A replica of the camp is located 40 kilometers south, where is a model of tunnel. 7. The film features no main female characters. 8. Steve McQueen did his own stunts and rode a motorcycle, except for one. The final stunt involving a 5-foot jump over a fence on a motorcycle, he tried it, but crashed. The jump was successfully performed by Bud Ekins. 9. The film was shot on location in Germany, using an actual POW camp for authenticity. The sets and props were meticulously designed to recreate the World War II era. 10. John Lydon Willie, the Tunnel King, was one of the most popular UK pop singers in the early 1960s.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more interesting videos and don't forget to press like button and share.